You know that feeling, right? If you're a manager, you've been there. You have a great team, you really do, but something's just off. The energy's tanking, there's more friction, and you're seeing a whole lot more burnout than breakthrough. It's a huge and honestly a very expensive problem. But turning it all around, it's probably more achievable than you think. And it usually starts with a really quiet signal, just like this one.
This line from an HR Insider report is devastating because it's the very end of a story we see play out way too often. It's that final, quiet signal of a much, much louder problem that's been brewing just under the surface. It's what happens when a really great employee feels like they have absolutely no other choice.
So, to make this whole thing feel real, let's walk through a scenario together. Let's meet a manager, we'll call her Maya. And Maya's in a spot that, well, many of us have found ourselves in. Her team, which used to be this absolute powerhouse, is starting to come apart at the seams. She knows she's got to do something, but the big question is what and how? Her journey to figure that out is going to be our playbook.
Okay, so Maya's first move wasn't some big, flashy new initiative. It was actually much simpler. It was about paying close attention, really recognizing the clear, data-driven signs that her team was in trouble.
So these are the kinds of red flags Maya started to see. You've got a huge jump in sick days. Engagement scores are in a nosedive. People are making small mistakes. These aren't just vague feelings. These are measurable things. And Maya realized pretty quick, she wasn't just dealing with a few one-off problems. This was a systematic issue, and it needed a systemic solution. So Maya starts to dig a little deeper. She realizes this problem isn't just about the workload. It's about something much more fundamental. A breakdown in the unwritten rules of work, what experts call the psychological contract.
The easiest way to think about the psychological contract is as this invisible deal we all make when we start a job. It's that unspoken agreement, right? The feeling that, hey, if I give you my all, my hard work, my loyalty, you'll give me things like security, respect, and a real chance to grow. And when a company breaks that unwritten promise, trust just evaporates, and engagement goes with it.
And this is so critical because that contract has totally changed. I mean, the old deal, loyalty in exchange for a job for life, that's basically gone. Today, what people expect is to provide real value in exchange for things like continuous learning and interesting work that, keeps them employable for the future. So much conflict happens for one simple reason. The company is still playing by the old rules while its people are expecting the new ones.
So, with this huge mismatch, you need a totally new approach. That old reactive style of management, waiting for a formal complaint to land on your desk before you do anything, it's just obsolete. Maya realized she had to flip the script and get proactive. She had to focus on building individual trust to stop issues before they ever got that big.
So how do you actually build that trust? Well, Maya's first big move was to stop guessing and start listening. Her whole focus shifted to opening up the channels for real, honest, and continuous communication. She started with a structured open door policy. And the key word here is structured. It's not just about casually saying, hey, my door's always open. It's about making it official, setting clear boundaries so it's actually sustainable for you, and, this is the most important part, acting quickly on what you hear. I mean, nothing builds trust faster than when people see their feedback actually leads to change. And, this whole idea of continuous dialogue isn't just some nice-sounding theory. For inspiration, Maya looked at what companies like Adobe were doing. They famously got rid of the dreaded annual performance review and swapped it for a system of regular check-ins. And that totally shifted the focus from judging past performance to coaching for future success.
And the result for Adobe? I mean, get this. On top of having a much more engaged team, they saved an estimated 80,000 manager hours a year. That just proves that investing your time in communication isn't a drain. It's one of the smartest, most efficient things you can do to boost performance.
Okay, so with these communication channels finally open, all the underlying conflicts started to bubble up to the surface. And that was actually a good thing. It meant problems weren't just festering in silence anymore. But it also meant that Maya and her team needed some new tools to handle these disagreements in a constructive way.
Research is really clear on this. When it comes to conflict, not all styles are created equal. You have the competitive, win-lose approach, which just absolutely crushes trust. Then there's avoiding the issue altogether, which just lets tension build and build. The goal, the sweet spot, is a collaborative win-win approach. It's really the only style that consistently leads to both high satisfaction and high performance.
For some of the trickier issues, Maya introduced a really powerful tool, mediation. Now, this isn't about some judge coming in to decide who's right and who's wrong. It's a structured, confidential process where a neutral person helps the people involved find their own solution.
So why is mediation so incredibly effective? Well, for starters, it's way faster and less stressful than formal procedures. But more importantly, it focuses on repairing the underlying relationship, not just slapping a Band-Aid on the immediate problem. It helps create those win-win solutions and gives colleagues a real shot at moving forward together.
All right, so all of Maya's efforts, the proactive communication, the constructive conflict resolution, what was the actual real-world business impact? This is where the story gets really compelling, because the data shows an incredibly tangible payoff.
According to some really extensive research from Gallup, companies with highly engaged employees, which is the direct result of these strategies, report on average a 21% increase in profitability. That is a number that will get any leader's attention.
And the same research shows a staggering 41% reduction in absenteeism. Think about it. When people feel heard, when they feel respected and connected to their work, they show up. And not just physically, they show up mentally and emotionally, ready to contribute.
And then there's turnover. Just look at this impact. Engaged workplaces see way lower turnover. And this isn't just some nice morale boost. It represents massive, massive savings in recruitment and training costs. It's really simple. Investing in your people is one of the highest return activities any business can do. So Maya's journey from watching her team burn out to leading a breakthrough gives us a really clear, actionable playbook. Let's boil her entire experience down into a set of strategies that you can start putting into practice today.
Here it is, your playbook. First, diagnose the health of that psychological contract on your team. Then make the shift from just reacting to problems to proactively preventing them. Set up a formal, structured open-door policy. Become a champion for continuous feedback, not just annual reviews. Train your team in win-win problem-solving. Use mediation when you need it. And finally, track the data to prove that it's all working.
And that brings us to our last question for you to really think about. An unlocked door just means people can come in. An open door means they feel psychologically safe enough and actively invited to walk through it. So as a manager, which one do you have? Because the answer to that question makes all the difference in the world.